Welcome everyone to this episode on NativeScript Air. Today we're gonna talk about some of the cool work that our plugins NativeScript team is working on. So I have a room full of people and also a lot of guests. So I'll probably just let everyone introduce themselves very quickly. So maybe we start with the people in my room. So I have here Bessie.
Yeah.
So...
Hello everyone, I'm Bessie. I'm leading the NativeScript Plugins team, and I'm very happy to join this air episode.
Cool. So we have Theodore here.
Hi guys, I'm Theodore. I'm working on the same NativeScript plugins team, and basically what I work the most is the marketplace, the plugin seed, and some of the plugins out there. So that's for me.
Cool. And we got Dimitar here as well.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Dimitar. I'm working at Progress for more than 5 years. I was part of the Telerik platform, and now I'm part of the plugins team.
Awesome. So we also have a bunch of guests. So guys, you can introduce yourself quickly. I see Eddie unmuted yourself first. So how about you go, Eddie?
Thank you. Yeah, hi, Eddie Verbruggen. I was here last week actually at the NativeScript Air session, so you may have seen me as well. I've worked with Progress for about 4 years. First worked on the Cordova plugins marketplace and gradually shifted to the NativeScript plugins, and yeah, still enjoying doing that. So I hope to be with you guys for a long time.
Cool. Shiva, you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi. Hi everyone. I'm Shiva. I work as a lead software developer at BFIT Technologies, and I've been working with NativeScript since last July. And I also develop plugins and help the community in my free time. So that's about me.
Cool. So next up we have David Coffin. Hey, David.
Hey, how's it going? So yeah, I've been working in the NativeScript community for a couple years. I use it in my day job, and I also have a few other apps out there, and I also spend my free time working on plugins.
Perfect. So what we want to do today, we've lost Alex. He'll probably come back later. So what we want to do today is basically for our team over here to talk about what we're trying to achieve with NativeScript plugin seed and some of the other things that is done on our side. But there's one thing I definitely want to start with is basically, there's a bit of confusion of what is the plugin seed team really does, or the plugin team does. So can you guys explain to us?
Yeah, of course. So basically, we aim to provide the appropriate conditions for the plugins ecosystem to evolve. And we started doing this with the plugin seed because we think that having a good starting point to create plugins will ease the work of all the plugin developers out there. And the new plugin developers that come and want to try to build their plugin, we thought that it would be nice to have just a good path, a good starting path for their first plugin. And also we with the plugin seed, we aim to improve the way the plugins are created and also maintained, and to provide the conditions for external contributors to be able to contribute to some other plugins. Because we believe that when you have, when most of the plugins have similar structure and have similar workflow, it will be much easier for anyone out there who have built one plugin to, for example, to fix an issue in some other plugin, because there won't be this initial setup to understand how this plugin works and what you have to do to set it up. It will just work because you already know this development workflow. So basically, that's our goals from the plugin author's perspective. And if we talk about the application developers. For them, we created the marketplace with the purpose to help them find the highest quality plugins, because we introduced this concept for the verified plugin, for which we'll talk a bit later when we talk about the marketplace. But this was our main goal there.
Cool. That's pretty much useful. So then, like we talked just before the session, like you said that you're working on the plugin seed. So can you tell us more about the purpose of it and how to work with it, and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, the plugin seed, as Vesi already said, is to give a common structure to the plugin so that everybody who looks at a particular plugin made with the seed, it looks similar in some way, and also it also gives a starting point and some out-of-the-box features that all plugin authors, we believe, will need. And if you like, I will make a live demo of that.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
So basically, what I'm gonna do is open up the let me share the screen.
So in the meantime, you guys feel free to ask questions as well, because like we want to make it as useful as possible. So the session is as much as for our audience, but it's also for you guys. So go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Not it's just black for now. Oh, yep, we can see Finder.
Okay, and the NativeScript plugin seed, right?
Yep.
Okay, this is the plugin seed in the plugin seed repo, and basically what I'm gonna do right now is follow the steps that we've created to bootstrap a plugin. So the first step is to clone this repo, and I'm gonna open a folder here. We'll work in the Visual Studio Code environment with the integrated terminal for just not to switch the screens too often. And I'm gonna execute this command. I'm gonna choose some other, for example, my plugin folder where we should extract the repo. So first step, cloning the repo. Then the other steps are just navigate to the source folder and run an npm script command, which we have in the repo. Just waiting to clone. Maybe it's a bit slower because of the streaming. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, we are on Wi-Fi, so it happens. Yeah. Cool. It's almost there anyway.
Yeah. Okay, it's done. And we see the whole structure of the plugin seed on the screen. Next step is, as we said, go to the source folder. So I'm gonna navigate there and run npm run post clone. This is just a bootstrapping script that we've created so that it prompts you for some info while setting your script. We will just see the prompt here. One of the prompts is just to enter your GitHub username. I'm gonna enter it. What would be the name of your plugin? For example, NativeScript my plugin.
Without the word NativeScript there.
Sorry? It doesn't matter. It's okay.
You need to write NativeScript there.
It's handled.
Yeah, it's okay right now.
Okay.
And are we gonna make a fresh GitHub Git project out of this this tool? We say yes. And what the script does right now is replace some files, delete some helper files that are baked in the NativeScript plugin seed to make the whole plugin. And also it replaces the README contents so that they are not the README contents that you see here in the plugin seed repo, and it is structure that we believe is nice to start when you write a README for your plugin.
Perfect.
Just waiting a few more seconds to finish this script. I can turn my attention to the common structure of the plugin. Basically, it contains 3 folders: the demo folder, the source folder, and the publish folder. The source folder contains the plugin source. The demo contains the NativeScript project source, which is linked to the plugin, so that when you run the demo, it actually uses the plugin. And the publish folder contains some scripts if you want to publish your plugin right after you write it, to publish it on npm, for example.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And also the .github folder, it holds a ready issue template that it comes out of the box when somebody wants to write an issue for your plugin right after it's published to GitHub, for example. And you have an issue template that people can follow.
Oh yeah, so that's when you basically say like, hey, if you want to create issues, please tell me A, B, C.
Yeah. It's actually the same issue template we use for our plugins and the plugin seed, and it asks the same questions. For example, where the problem appears and asks you to describe more about it.
That's pretty cool. So basically, the seed is not just about giving me place where I put my code, but you're taking care of all the work around it. Very useful.
Hey, Fizzy, I'm curious, do people throw away the template and just type their own issue, or do they actually use the template?
Well, we don't have some observations of that, but people can do whatever they want with these files. Anyway, they can throw it away, they can use it, but if they want to use it, they have it in front of them, and some of the job is done for them.
How about I turn this around? Like, do you use everything that's in the seed? And that's pretty much a question to all of you.
I actually do, yeah. I think the code of conduct is quite new. But besides that, and also that GitHub folder with the issue template is also quite new. I've had it in a few plugins. People tend to throw it away. That's why I asked, but they shouldn't, of course. But perhaps it's because there's too many questions in it. I don't know. But the main thing I usually want to know is, do you experience the problem on iOS or Android or both? And but besides that, I use everything of the seed.
Yeah, so do I.
Nice.
When I start out, I like to remove all that that alert, hey, this plugin works, that thing. So I would like to ask one thing, like, is it possible to add the demo ng along with the boilerplate? Because normally when you verify the plugin, you're supposed to give both NativeScript core and NativeScript Angular demo. So if it comes with the plugin template, that will be cool. Like, otherwise you just anyways have to create the Angular demo, right? Because everybody's asking for Angular demos.
Oh, What we were thinking about when we working on the seat is should we add a lot of stuff there or keep it simple? And we decided that it's better to keep it simple because not all of the plugins need an Angular demo application, because not all of the plugins have some specific UI that needs to be registered in a different way. But I think that we have a documentation article about it, or if we don't, we have that probably.
It'd be great to include that in the setup process, like where it asks you your GitHub username. It could just be, do you want to include an Angular demo application?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's good feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll consider that. So we may continue with the demo if you'd like.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So the next step we want to do is the run the demo. Actually, this command here, it it says run demo iOS, but it does several things. It builds the plugin and then runs the demo. I'm gonna execute that, and
so basically, it builds the plugin and moves into the demo project like an npm install.
Yeah, it does npm install, tsc, and then tns run demo iOS in the demo folder. And what else? While building, I'm gonna show the other files here. That the plugin seed comes with. Some of them are the Travis YAML file, which is bootstrap for having your plugin tested or whatever in Travis CI. Also, let me see. I told about the publish folder that contains some scripts for publishing, and also in the demo folder we have. I think we should have tests here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is a refresh program with the Visual Studio Code, but it has some bits for doing. Yeah. It has some bits for doing unit tests for unit testing your plugin. So you can run some unit tests on the demo application testing your plugin.
That's pretty cool.
Do you think we should provide a TypeScript-based test instead of JavaScript, because the plugin itself is TypeScript, and you might as well rename that test file to .ts, and then you're set because it's already being transpiled.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe we should make some step in that direction. Some other tests we've thought about is testing UI testing with the NativeScript Debugging, and we have additional. I think we have additional documentation.
Yeah, we have a pretty extensive documentation about how to build UI tests with Debugging plugin.
Yeah, if you get to the docs NativeScript.org and you have in the plugin section, you have some articles. One of them talks about these things. Mm. So back to the demo. It's already done, and it has run the demo app with the running plugin here. This alert is coming from there. If you go and make a change in the code of the plugin, for example, this one, and saving the file, this should trigger compilation and live sync, and the application should refresh right here. So in the plugin seed, development environment is done in such a way that you just you can make changes and view the changes right away in the demo. So it's facilitated in that way. What else I would like to show is how to use the Travis file for those of.
So maybe before you get into that, can we come back just quickly to the project so that everybody knows what is going where? So you have in myplugin.common.ts, you have the utils class. So then can you just show everybody quickly how this ties to the demo project, how we import it, and how this arrives to the actual project?
Yeah, sure. The plugin is, you see the TypeScript files here. They are transpiled, and once transpiled, the JavaScript files are generated. They aren't visible here because I've turned them off. But the demo project has in its dependencies. Let me just find the correct package JSON in its dependencies. Connection to the plugin via this notion, and this one with npm5 makes a symlink to this folder, the source folder, and when you change something here, the TypeScript compiler goes over it. It transpiles the files, generates the new JavaScript, and while the demo is running here,
so we also
watching the node modules and it's refreshing.
So, and we also have the main view model.ts. So that's probably where we also calling that specific plugin.
Yeah, that was your question.
Actually, I was looking for both parts. So this is basically
so this thing creates a new instance of my plugin, which is defined.
In the myplugin.android or .ios.
.ios. Okay, yeah. And this class extends common, and common is this class. And what this class does is just sets to a field the result of this method. And the result of this method is returning of this message, and after a timeout, making an alert that we saw here and we closed.
Oh, cool.
So the demo executes some functionality from the plugin, right? Perfect. So, any other questions?
So then I think just in case not everybody gets it. In terms, if I wanted to do just an iOS change or just an Android change, where would that go?
Just an iOS change goes in .ios files, and just an Android and .android files. And
so we would have to create the same function, the function with the same name but different content inside, basically, right?
If we want to do the same thing and call different native APIs for iOS and for Android, you should put your logic inside these files and expose it via the common file or.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and so basically we passed through all the points here, and I just wanted to show how to use the Travis file, the Travis YAML, for people who hasn't used Travis. In order to do that, we should first commit the changes here, because we should create a new GitHub repo. I'm gonna go ahead and create that. For example, like we decided to to name our plugin. Created the repo. We should execute these commands because we already have the repository, but first I'm gonna go ahead and commit the changes we just made. Let's say initial commit for the first commit, and then we're gonna set the remote is local and push the changes. Just typing my. Okay, the source code should appear here. Yeah,
Nice.
Here, and then all we want to do is go to the Travis CI, travisci.org, and if we don't have account, you can log in with a GitHub account here, and I have already done that. I'm thinking because just to refresh the repos here, and refreshing. And we see here the plugin. All we want to do is just enable it. And right after enabling, go to the build and trigger a new one.
Yeah, that will happen automatically every time you push a commit, right?
Yeah, I think when you push, it automatically runs. So we have a running built-in Travis CI right out of the box.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So then does that automatically execute our tests that we had in that test?
Yeah, the tests are hooked up. Also some TS linting and some Webpack,
snapshotting,
Glify,
and actually building the demo for iOS and Android.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what happens if we break it, and would that show us an error? How long does it usually take to do a build?
Well, it's not very
About 20
fast.
minutes.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it depends. Sometimes it's lower than that.
So we can just leave it running in the background while we talk about other things, but that's actually pretty cool that like the effort on your side was minimal, and we were able to like have cloud builds like for testing, etc., like continuous integration.
Yeah, it's still a starting point. So if someone wants to add more checks or wants to evolve, at least here's the starting point. You don't need to start reading from the very beginning what's the Travis YAML, how it works, and so on. You can just open the file, read some of the documentation, and try to add more of your checks.
Nice. So what else do we have in the, oh yeah, there was a question from the audience. They were asking about debugging. How should they debug the plugin?
Well,
I personally debug it using Visual Studio Code extension, the NativeScript one. I'm not sure if we have some config in the plugin. Maybe we should add some.
I mean, wouldn't debugging just the demo project not be enough? Because you can put a breakpoint in your demo project and then step in, and then you go into the code.
Like a normal NativeScript application.
Yeah. And then you can basically debug either with Chrome tools or VS Code or whatever you prefer.
Yeah. The same way you debug an application.
Yeah.
Because the plugin is actually the node model of the demo.
Yeah. Yeah, because the plugin itself is not executable. It's just something that complements your project.
And the plugin is linked in the demo application, so you put that breakpoint directly in the plugin, and because of the linking, it will hit there. You don't need to add it in node modules.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was wondering one thing about the README. If you can go to the GitHub repo in Chrome, yeah, the one of your actual plugin, the NativeScript My plugin.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So if you scroll down a bit, exactly there's at the top of the README it says add a few badges. I feel that we should add them for you. If you can scroll up a bit. Yeah, here. So here, the first line here is add your plugin badges here. See this other plugin, but that other plugin has the wrong badges really, I think. So if you can click on the NativeScript Firebase plugin link, that's a bit in your cursor, and then scroll down to the top. Yeah, so there are the badges that you really want. I think the first one is Travis. That's your build status. The second one is the published version on NPM. That's what people actually are gonna get. And the other ones are just for show. So the number of downloads and a follow button of my Twitter account in this case. But those first two are I think essential. So I think we should add it to the README by default.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Maybe we should write it down.
We could add the NPM one, as we cannot be sure about the repository name for the Travis one.
Yeah, I think you can in the post clone. We should know it.
Yeah, we are currently not asking, but we could.
Yeah, just the best guess, right? It's probably the right guess usually.
Okay.
So, and also the thing that we talked about last week, perhaps you've already heard about it, was not everybody knows, or perhaps hardly anyone knows, how to generate typings from your from external third-party libraries. And we felt like it would be valuable if those commands could be added to the plugin seeds package.json script section. So where on iOS is just like 2 lines that you can combine as a one-liner even, which will work if you run on macOS. And for Android, it may be a bit more challenging. So I'm not sure if you can fully automate that, because you need another repository on your machine and throw in the jar or the AAR over there and then run the command. So, but perhaps just some instructions somewhere in the seed so people know how to generate those typings, because we feel it's quite essential and also an advantage of NativeScript to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, as far as I know from the roadmap of the runtimes team, they have plans to improve this typing generation for Android.
Yeah, I heard it.
It should be as easy as it is for iOS now. And once this happens, probably we can add the comments in the seed.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Easier, but till then, we can add some more instructions about this. There are some, I think, in the documentation.
Yeah, I know. I have it bookmarked and I scroll down to it every time. But actually, in this Firebase plugin, I added it to the scripts of the package.json, because I have to do it quite often, because Firebase changes their implementation all the time. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks for the feedback.
Nice. So yeah, the plugins is gonna be even better. Anything else worth noting around the plugin seeds?
I think it's worth noting for people watching who don't exactly know what the TypeScript definitions do, is that you can literally get a definitions file for every available API for third-party libraries, like a CocoaPod, for example. So you don't have to guess or sort of extrapolate the method names. They're all there for you in IntelliSense while you're developing the plugin.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for clarification.
It would be nice if Sidekick has a button or something where you can just start a new plugin project from Sidekick or something. I think that'll be great.
To add a new plugin by Sidekick?
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, I will take a note.
I love this idea. Yeah, I mean, it's like, because if we can use our tooling, like, so be it Sidekick or NativeScript CLI, if we can do the generation of the project for you, I think that sounds like a natural place to be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll definitely discuss that. Thanks, Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's pretty much where we are with the plugin seed, right? Like, so there's also the whole bit around how we verify plugins and like where do they go? Like what is our story here?
About the verified plugins, we'll talk also a bit later when we talk about the marketplace. But what I can say that the idea about the verified plugins was to have just one name for a set of different checks that that will prove in a way that the plugin is with high quality, meaning that it has a demo, the demo runs on Android and iOS, it doesn't break, it can be webpacked, it can be snapshotted, and it has a good README. But what we received feedback that this batch verified plugin is a bit confusing because it doesn't give any concrete meaning, and different people understand it in different ways. So we decided to change this, but Dimitar will talk a bit later how, when he talks about the marketplace.
Cool. So what's the best place to move on to now?
Probably with the next steps about the plugin seed and the 4.0.
Oh yeah. So that's one thing. This place. To make some changes, or like it would be nice to know what's gonna come up with 4.0. So I guess that'd be a topic of interest, especially to our guests over here.
So yeah, probably you followed the discussion about the 4.0 and how it will affect the plugins. There were different suggestions there, and recently we are in a discussion on how actually to not make any breaking changes of the plugins, and we think that we can achieve this. So this means that we are aiming for not introducing any breaking changes for the plugins. So all the plugins created till now will continue to work as they are. They won't need any migration. Other direction in which we are working is to actually provide the opportunity for the plugin authors to build their R files for the native Android part, but without having this Android project in the repository of the plugin. And this will be still the approach that we will recommend, to build the R files before we publish the plugin, because this will still improve the way your plugin works in the application. What I mean is that if you have a plugin and you have your Android manifest, your include Gradle, and so on files in your platform's Android folder, but you haven't built your DR file for this plugin. This means that once you install it in the application, once the users using your plugin install it in the application, the CLI will go and build the DR file for you, but this will add some delay in the building of the application. So if you imagine if you have an application having 20 plugins, and the CLI needs to build each of these plugins, This means that it will add more building time. This will be for the initial build of the application, or every time you actually remove platforms folder of your application. So that's why we will highly recommend to all the plugin authors to build their R files, and we will try to provide the easiest way possible. It can be just some dev dependency in your plugin and calling some command, or it can be some CLI command. We are still in discussion how to do it, but it will be very, very easy and simple to do it.
So you're doing actually a combination of things, which sounds awesome. But the main downside, I think, was that having a lot of plugins that include manifest or resource files would put more strain on cloud builds. But you're mitigating that by advising plugin authors to create the AAR file for you, or?
So we lost you for a moment. Can you repeat the last?
As usual. So I was wondering, does it still severely impact cloud builds, this approach?
No. It turns out that the cloud builds actually have some caching of the R files.
Awesome.
So it won't affect the cloud builds.
Cool.
The cloud builds will work the same way a local build works.
Perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. So basically, the call to action is like, as much as we're not going to force you to build those AR files, we would like you to actually take it as the best practice approach, so that anyone that uses the plugins you build gets faster builds with the new project, or every time that you delete the platforms folder. And I think that's just Android only, right? iOS.
We're talking about the Android changes now.
Yeah. So
also if you build the R file of your plugin, in case there are any errors in the Android manifest or any of the other native files, you will see this error immediately. And if you leave the CLI to build the plugin, probably by testing the demo app, you will also see such errors. But if for some reason you just publish the plugin without testing in the demo app application, you risk that once the CLI tries to build the AR file for your plugin, just to show some error to the application developer, who is actually a user of your plugin.
Yep. So I'm gonna publish your email addresses if you don't do AAR files, right? No, I'm just kidding. Only edit.
Yeah, probably there will be some kind of warning for you also, and for the application developer. These are details that we haven't discussed still, but yeah, we recommend to build your R files.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Also, so you just approach from two sides. You ask the developers or the plugin developers to do a little extra effort, but you will also gracefully accept whatever they give you. So
yeah,
I think that's fair, right? And you will also try to help us add a dependency, run a certain script, or even fully automate it in the seed to bundle it.
Yeah, we're gonna add this functionality in the seed, and we'll try to make it invisible for people that are doing plugins from scratch from the seed. Maybe they will not visualize that the plugin seed will build the AAR just before publishing or just before running the demo app, if they use the integrated npm scripts in the seed.
And we will keep the current structure of the plugin. We will not move anything.
Yeah, perfect. Well, great work. Thank you.
Excellent.
So I can go on vacation.
And there are some plugins where you need to add a new activity to the manifest file. So I've seen that if I add it in the manifest file that is given in the plugin seed, it doesn't get added to the demo app. So instead, you need to tell in the README file, go and add this activity to the manifest file. I just tried adding the activity element itself to the manifest file. Is there something else that I have to do? Did I do something wrong there?
I think that currently, if you do any changes to the manifest, I think that you need to reinstall the plugin or rebuild the demo app in order for them to appear.
I did do that. Like if I make some changes for permissions, for example, let's say my plugin requires a new permission, and I add that to the manifest file. I'm not talking about the demo, but the plugin source manifest itself. So if I add a new permission, that works fine. But if I add a new activity there, that doesn't work. If you can see, even in NativeScript plugin Firebase, it asks to add one particular Firebase related thing to your manifest file, right? So is it possible for plugin itself to kind of like give that part of the thing instead of asking the user to add it to their manifest file?
We are not aware of this limitation. So you could open an issue and we will investigate it further. I'm not sure.
Probably you can open an issue in the CLI.
Actually, what I feel is this activity element goes inside of the application element in manifest file. So when you simply add the activity in the manifest file of the plugin, it just doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
We should investigate it.
Yeah, we should investigate this further.
Okay, sure.
You could walk it in the seed even.
You can walk it in the seed or the CLI.
Okay.
Well, I have something that contradicts that statement because the NativeScript barcode scanner plugin actually has an activity it injects into yours, and it's defined in the plugin. So perhaps there's something else going on. We'll have to further investigate it.
I'll look at that one. Yep.
Okay. So what else about the changes? Yeah, what I wanted to say is that we already created an issue in the plugin seed where we will describe all these changes in more details. So just make sure you follow this issue in the seed. We'll provide the link below the video, probably.
Yeah, I just checked the barcode scanner. I just checked the barcode scanner, so I had to wrap it around application tags. So if you don't wrap it around application tags, it won't work. So yeah, that was what I was doing wrong. So if you just place the activity inside the manifest file, it doesn't work. You need to wrap it around with application tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think that's for the 4.0 changes. And yeah, other direction that we are thinking, but we don't have any plans for the moment, but we are thinking that it's good to use and to implement is to add some schematics for all these things that are missing now in the seed. And if we add them, they won't be usable for every plugin, but actually they will be usable for example, as you said earlier, yeah, the Angular demo. This is a perfect case for a schematic because you'll just run a command and it will add the Angular demo app to your plugin, but the demo app won't be there for all the plugin owners. Yeah, it's the same with the UI tests and
native project.
Yeah.
So perhaps if there's more to choose, then we also may need to change the seed to be able to add something to it later. So if you think, oh, I would actually like to have an Angular demo app as well, how would I run schematics then? So at the moment, it's just the post-clone script, which is blown away after your plugin is created. So maybe that would be something that you could run more than once. to add features.
Yeah, the thing is that you might want to add such functionalities later, not the moment you do the post call.
Yeah.
And the schematics will give this flexibility.
Cool.
So if you guys want to try to create some schematics, you're welcome.
Yeah, if you're interested, ping me. I can also like give you a quick introduction how to use it, because there might be a few applications on how we could extend the seed. So you have the knowledge of the plugins, I have the knowledge of schematics. Together, we're a killer team. Let's do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So stop streaming, and now we're going to work on the schematics, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's just grab a cup of coffee and go through the night.
I wanted to ask about something which is not plugin related essentially, but NativeScript related. So is there any plans for adding an easy way to indicate touch effects? For example, when you touch a widget, just need a ripple effect to give some feedback to the user that you touched it. So that is something which is not easily possible, or like it's counterintuitive right now. You need to install NativeScript Ripple plugin and then wrap it around your UI element, and then you get ripple effect. So I think it would be nice if we have some easy way to add touch effects to all the UI elements in NativeScript.
We should also sync this one with the...
I've seen it in other frameworks where you can just say like what kind of touch effect you want for that UI element, and you get that touch effect. So I think that would be a very good addition to NativeScript.
Yeah, this is a good feature request for that.
I'm taking a note about it.
Also, if you see the rad list view, it doesn't have a ripple effect by default. But if you see the list view that comes with NativeScript, it has ripple effect for each element.
I think the guys from the teams are working for some unification of this list, or
but we will work anyway to improve this the wrap components, the components that are part of the Pro UI. So we are doing some comparison now between the wrap list view and the list view that comes in NativeScript by default. So probably we will do some feature parity between them and leave just one of them to be used by default. But this is something that will come in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
so what else?
That's for the plugin seat and the plans about it.
Cool. So we mentioned like the verified flag or the changes that we're planning to do.
We'll mention it now.
So maybe
place.
Okay. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah, I can say a few words about the marketplace.
Would you like to present here?
Yeah, we could share yours. So as Bessie already said, we've created the official NativeScript marketplace. It could be found at market.nativescript.org. Oh, yeah. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. The main difference between the official marketplace and the community ones is exactly this verified criteria and the verified plugins. So when you are searching for something, for example, Facebook, the verified plugins are on top, so they are more visible. So we are making the quality plugins more visible. However, as Bessie also already said, we received a lot of feedback that the verified criteria is not much clear, and we are thinking about replacing this green badge with more clear badges, something like Android support, iOS support, Webpack support, unit tests, and so on, snapshot support, yeah, which will be more clear, and everyone will know what is this when it's it.
And more concrete.
More concrete, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I want to clarify here is all of you guys that you have created your plugins verified. It's not lost because you just have more of these concrete badges for your plugin. So it's just a replacement. It's not
a better visualization, not a replacement. So, for example, there will be a Travis CI integration badge, and all the verified plugins will be on top because they have running Travis CI. So the plugin folder will be the same, but the visualization will be better.
So, and users will also be able to filter based on those badges, right?
We are still thinking of it.
Okay.
It's not.
Do you think there's a need for this?
Maybe for if you want to filter on iOS or Android and webpackability, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're thinking of it. So mainly, this is a marketplace. Quality plugins are on top, and we also have authors page. So our top authors are also more visible. For example, here, Eddie is the top author.
Check you out, Eddie.
Yeah. So he could even take this link and put it in his LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And everyone has personal profile page.
Yeah, you have to design those pages especially for me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can share with your family to show off.
Yeah. I print them out and I put them above my bed, of course.
Also, our experts have the experts badge, so they're also more visible.
Cool.
And mainly that's the marketplace. You just search plugin and the quality plugins are on top. And you could just copy the command and use it in your app.
Perfect.
So I was wondering, those new badges, will that be like an automated process, or do you need to manually tag these plugins?
Yeah, I forgot about that. It will be automatic check, it will be daily, and it will be applied to all plugins, because currently the verified plugins are verified because some manual process and by the authors. But with the badges, we will automatically batch each plugin in the marketplace.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Are we gonna have an AAR badge?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Cloud build friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, any type build friendly, right? And we should also have Eddie badge.
Yeah, we have it. It's somewhere.
I think you muted.
Shut up.
Oh, you were swearing. That's what it was. Okay. Excellent. There was a quick question. If we can come back to AR very quickly.
I think it would be nice if we have plugin categories in market.nativescript.org, like UI plugins and non-UI plugins separately or something.
Yeah, we are also thinking of some categories like that, or badges or something like that. But in order to do that, we should know how to categorize in UI and non-UI plugin, because it's not much easy.
Yeah, it's not very clear to have this categorization. But yeah, we can think about it.
I mean, like, yeah, please share any feedback with us as we go. So if you have good ideas for some badges or whether something works or not, basically.
Actually, if you visit plugin.nativescript.rocks, there is some categorization over there. So based on the type of keyword used in the package JSON. So if it's an interface plugin, we generally use the keyword interface there, something like that. So there's even a documentation in plugins.nativescript.rocks which tells like which category to use for which kind of plugins. So something like that can be implemented here as well, and plugin authors can update their plugins to add the category.
Yeah, we are about it, but it could be we could have problems with same problems as the verified criteria, because it's not, it doesn't depend on us. I mean, the plugin author should put this keyword. We cannot be sure and cannot analyze it for everyone.
Yeah. So if you have a UI plugin and the plugin author doesn't add this keyword, it won't be categorized as a UI plugin. Probably with the time, the most used and maintained plugins will become categorized. So we can still think about this approach.
There's a question here. Why not use the tags which NPM uses from Numan Shah?
Why not use what?
Why not use the tags from NPM?
The tags.
Which tags?
The tags that NPM uses, because NPM has tags itself, right?
Packages.
Are you talking about keywords? Or?
I think it's just like because we're talking about badges, so maybe we could reuse some of the NPM tags. Would that be any overlap? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, because these badges, they will be based on some checks we do in the plugin structure. So I'm not sure how NPM can provide this for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You said the keywords, from the package.
Well, the thing with the keywords is that we cannot be sure. So we want to be sure that when we put this batch out there, it's already checked and it's real. Because if we rely on the keywords, everyone can add a keyword.
Yeah. So I think consistency is the key, right?
Yeah.
And for the plugins where the plugin author didn't add any keyword because he didn't know, or for some other reason, because he haven't made any changes on the plugin for the last 3 months, for example, they will just be there without any badges.
Yeah, just forget about it.
So I've got another question. Are there any plans to improve the homepage of market.nativescript in a way that the more relevant plugins, so not just verified, show up on top of the list, like most updated, or and then maybe ignore the templates?
We already have such sections that, like the recently updated plugins and the recently verified. Mm-hmm. But yeah, maybe the most updated is something similar to recently updated. Mm-hmm.
And maybe
not the same.
Most downloaded.
Yeah. So probably some kind of different ordering of the plugins. Well, currently we don't have such plans, but it's for sure something that we can think about. I just want to mention that there is a repository in the NativeScript organization, which is a marketplace dash feedback. So any feedback or ideas you have about the marketplace, you can post them there. We'll add a link to the YouTube later, but just have this in mind.
Cool. And then I have one more question. Just, I think you covered it, but we can go over it again. In terms of generating those AAR files, let me wait. So on generate. Oh, it was about generating typings for Android. We should use Android DTS generator. But how do you get your hands on the jar or AAR file? Do I need to download the source and compile it in Android Studio, or is there an easier way?
What we are aiming for is, well, I said that there won't be any breaking changes. So for sure, we will have some logic in the CLI that will use the files that are currently in platforms Android to build the R file for the old plugins. And what we are aiming for is to use this same logic and expose it in a way to the plugin authors so that they can also use it and build their files upfront.
Cool.
Was that clear?
And another thing is, if I'm not sure if that was a question, but if you have already AAR file and you want to use some logic from it in your app, you can use it directly in the platform's Android.
So I guess it would be like, what if it's just a plugin you use Gradle to get it down, or Maven, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have the source, so.
Mm-hmm.
We should check it out, yeah. I'm not sure how we can do that.
So it's definitely an item for us to investigate.
Yeah, we should investigate it.
Okay, yeah. I guess another interesting feedback.
It was how to generate typings for just a Gradle dependency, not AR or jar file.
Or jar files.
So if it's similar in a moment to iOS, because you say it's gonna be similar to how you generate for iOS, then it will probably already work then, because it will use the compiled project which already has the Gradle dependencies in it, and then the generate typings runs, and then you'll probably have the typing file. So at the moment it's not possible. You have to go to the repository where this Gradle project lives, and then maybe to another website where the actual jar AAR is, and then you have to download it manually, etc. But I feel like in the future it may be already, it will work like VSDZ. If it's similar to iOS, then it should work from a Gradle file for Android. Which is something I'm looking really forward to, by the way.
We have to check this. Yeah, with the runtime team, because they are working on this.
Perfect. Cool. I think that's pretty much all we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Do you boys have any last wishes, last questions?
Well, I'm at least happy with the decisions that have been made regarding the NativeScript 4 changes. So good job, thank you.
Yay! Some excitement. Come on. All right. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any ideas on what we should be doing next with NativeScript Air or in NativeScript in general, give us a shout. Other than that, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.